What's going on, YouTube? AlphonZeus of Team Gradelock here with another episode of Team Gradelock Unlocks Week. We're going to be going into the local results that happened this past weekend at Game On in terms of both Cardfight, Vanguard, and Buddyfight. Any news speculating around the Cardfight Vanguard Set 16E, and then after that, we dive into the latest Cardfight Vanguard episode, Ride 192. Now, I do apologize for this video being a day late, but I have been studying for the LSAT. The exam is this Saturday, actually, so I'm just doing any other preparations that I can be in order to prepare myself for this very big experience. But I will do my best in order to upload the videos in a timely manner for you all. And now that we have that out of the way, let's get right into the results. This past Friday, we had the tag team tournament at Game On. There were at least 6 teams that entered, and the 2 teams that managed to top were CK and Henry with Link, Joker, and Kagero. I'm pretty sure that he finishes Galenio's deck by now. If not, then it's still Chaos Breaker. And Henry was running Novell. And then we have Jenna and Joe running Kagero and Shadow Paladins, Kagero Novell, and Shadow Paladin Avengers. I'm pretty sure that's Raising Form. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I get the deck builds wrong. Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to the Saturday. Now, I wasn't able to go since I had my final course diagnostic from 1 to 5, but at least I have the teammates that kind of told me the information of who topped there. Out of the 16 players that actually attended there, we had a top 4. And 3/4 of that top 4, they were all influenced by Set 15. Of course, we have Ryan from Team Dark Matter, the only one that's not affected by Set 15. He was actually running Murakumo Reverse, Hyaki Vogue. He was hitting those magic numbers pretty well. And then we have 3 members. We have Ian, who ran the Mega Colony Break Ride, Machinigs. So pretty much worked out well for him, going 3-1. Jason, he was actually doing well with Shadow Paladins, but this time he was actually running the Drag Ruler build. And it's, I guess in terms of his build, he calls it the poor man's build, since he's not able to get, 4 perfect guards or, other cards that may have been helpful, but at least, he has made it with at least that build. And then we have the 4th person, which was Christian, and he ran the Dragonic Overlord Rebirth with the Dio Break Ride. And it's really cool to see that Set 15, had that impact. Whether it's resting all your opponent's units or just having like a Break Ride 3 Vanguard attacks at the cost of locking all your rear guards, and then you have Shadow Paladins, which pretty much just rush you the 5 damage, utilizing the Break Ride combo Limit Break of Mordred Phantom into Mordred Phantom Drag Ruler. It's good to see them top. It's great to see that there's still a pretty good crowd for Vanguard at Game On. By the time I got there, I was able to at least just rest for a bit, maybe do some play testing, and then actually the Buddyfight tournament came up, and I decided to enter. I think there were 8 to 9 people that entered in the Buddyfight tournament. I actually went with the Dungeon Turrets, Dungeon World with the Turrets, Active Knights, and round 1 I went up against Henry, who was running the Thunder Knights of Dragon World. It was pretty much a war of attrition, I must say, because now I've realized that Turrets and the Active Knights is in the Dungeon World build. You're not trying to rush them to 0. You can't just call out, 3 Emperors, equip a bow, and just say GG 10 damage. But it's actually a war of attrition to outlast the opponent as much as possible, especially using some key cards. And I'm pretty grateful that I managed to get that out of the way, because now I feel what this deck is trying to do. Because it has a lot of short burst plays that a lot of them only take up a gauge of 1 gauge, I would say. Whether it's Pillar of Fire, Divine Protection, Fool's Journey, even Justice Hammer, which is free, although I have only used the 4 gauge cost once. But anyways, I managed to lose out against Henry because in game 3 I think he used the Thunder Knights formation, and he had that one monster that managed to give me 2 damage per game. I literally had no other protection outside of that. Also, in terms of the second round, I actually got the strongest buy, as Jesse likes to call it. So I managed to at least rest for a bit, just talk to some people, do some trades, etc. And then we can move on in terms of the 3rd round. The 3rd round, I went up against, I think... Oh man, I can't believe I'm starting to not remember that. I remember, I won the last 2 rounds. I think one of the rounds was against Ian, and he was running Magic World, the 72 Pillars build. And pretty much it was down to, he was using Saturday Night Live quite often. I was getting hit for numbers. He was using the dangerous backdrop and all of that. I just managed to at least win because he didn't have any Solomon's Shield in game 3. I managed to get in with Emperor and the Yellow Priestess and, use the bow. The bow has saved me countless times, so much. I managed to win game 3 against Ian. And the thing is, though, he was paired down too because he was undefeated. And then round 4, I won him against Modesto, who was running Dungeon World. So I faced 3 different worlds, which is, pretty cool. It's always nice to have a diverse group to face against. And he was running, of course, the hybrid. Now, what happened was, in games 1 and 2, it was pretty much down to, alright, he had to use continue, he had to use resources, but my ace in the hole, at least for this, was both the YOLO Priestess, or Actonite's High Priestess, because of flavor text when you read, you only live once, and then the Burning Bow was the MVP of my deck as well. And so, when we move on to games 1 and games 2, it was really me trying to outlast Dungeon World, trying to at least get rid of, his problem cards. And a lot of times, he had the Link attack, because thing is though, with High Priestess, she has 7k defense, which gets over the Pillar of Fire. So they literally have to Link attack her in order to do anything. And fortunately for me, I had the Divine Protections in my hand, ready to negate, so it would delay him furthermore. And then, of course, I try to at least get rid of the drum, trying to, make sure that I can control the field before he gains it back with, continues or, resets and whatnot. And I didn't even see the size 3 monster for Gal in his deck, because I noticed, I saw it when he was shuffling his deck a few times. And then after that, I managed to at least get away because I managed to utilize full aims for the wilderness, which has saved me quite well and has me gaining life and gaining a gauge for just 1 card, which is pretty good. And as long as I'm at 5 life or less, so even if I'm at 4, I can just use it twice. It has no restriction. And so I managed to get myself back up to 6 with 2 gauge. I pretty much like that. I can't believe I managed to make it to the top 4. I managed to get 2nd place after. I know Dex, he was the guy that managed to claim 1st. I'm not sure what build he was running. I think it was Danger World. But the packs I got, it was really kind of lackluster. Didn't pull anything good. But of course, I'm just happy that I'm starting to see where the Dungeon Terrace is actually taking me. And I'm hoping that maybe one day I can enter a Buddyfight Regional and just see what happens. Of course, I'm probably going to need to change out the sleeves because they're Rios. From High School DxD. Not the expensive ones, the new ones that came out. And now that we got the local results kind of all settled up, now let's go into, I guess, one of the big news that has popped up recently, especially in the Cardfight Vanguard groups on Facebook and such. Version 16E. I remember when people initially thought that certain cards would be omitted, that Neo Nectar and Grand Blue and like Deep Police, they would actually be omitted from this set. And I remember seeing that people saying, no, they're not omitted at all. They're still in. I'm not sure what cards would be omitted though. I hope that they keep, everything in set 16, right? I don't know about set 17. I know if they're gonna combine both 16 and 17, they should keep all the cards, and maybe the ones that should be omitted would be, maybe stuff like the movie trial deck, or even, maybe 1 or 2 trial deck cards that aren't exclusive. I hope that it would be, helpful to Bushiroad that if you can just, have like a complete list of cards that will be omitted. Of course, maybe not everything is set in stone yet, but I hope that in the next coming weeks, especially leading up to the sneak peek of this epic set, that we would at least see some sort of, readable, tangible proof that these are the cards that are going to be omitted. Because right now, a lot of speculation, a lot of people kind of get pissed off, and it can get pretty bad. But I really hope that Bushiroad will at least announce it sometime before the sneak peek drops, and then everybody's gonna be like, alright, this is the money set, guys. This is the hard reset that we need. And yeah, that was like the major return of events that we had. In terms of the regional, I know that actually CK, Henry, and Arturo, they're actually planning to move up to Canada so they can participate in the Bushiroad World Championship qualifiers there. So I'm pretty happy that those 3 are going to be representing Team Gradelock while being over there. And we'll see what happens. I know that they had pretty impressive outings. Arturo managed to place 3rd place at the Albany Regionals. Top 3 happened to be all Dungeon World, and then we happen to have Joe, who made top 8. And so we're starting to really, our members are really striking out there, and I'm really happy that we're getting, not only exposure, but we're getting at least legitimacy of our team. And it really helps out every day. Now that we're done with the local results and any news that has come up, of course, if you guys also have any other news you would like to announce, besides the epic True Ultimate Dimensional Robo Great Die Kaiser, which is the Legion, and you're probably going to need to run 12 Grade 3s now because this guy is silly. I'm so happy I still have 3 of Great Daiusha, and I'm just going to be just going in, just saying, I'm going to Legion, I'm going to use the Die Kaiser Break Ride because that's good. And then I can still use regular Daiusha and use Go Cannon and get a 13k base on my opponent's turn. Because I'm pretty sure that, at least according to one of my friends, he said that yes, the cross ride will take effect, so that means instead of 11k base, I'm a 13k base. But if you manage to prove me wrong and link it, comment down below again. Now, outside of that, let's finally get into the episode breakdown. So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to, see or hear any part of the episode whatsoever, because I will be providing screenshots of it as well, feel free to close out the video and just, move on your merry way. So Ride 192, the Obstinacy of the Flames, or the Pride of the Flames, as the subtitle said in English. This is probably one of the most epically sacky Cardfight Vanguard fights I have ever seen in my entire life. The fact that we almost got a chance to see Kai versus Aichi again for the last time in the season, we see Galliard step up and say, I need to settle the score with him right now. We both traded wins and losses. We need to settle this right now. And with, of course, everybody looking on from, the Cartonites remaining, such as Neve and Rati. And then we have Naoki, Ren, and Leon looking on. And with Korin looking on, and Aichi, of course, looking on as well. And things, though, no more gimmicks, no more prisons. This is legit final fight between Galliard and Kai. And I gotta say, I have never been really blown away by the plays in this whole match. Of course, even though that you have, grade 1, grade 2 guys and stuff, it's kind of cool you actually see more than just that. Because they have been pulling triggers so hard. Just really hard. Now this scene alone, you can tell that when you see the Vanguard, you know shit's gonna go down. There is literally nothing that you can be prepared for in order to epic this crazy, crazy awesome card fight that is going to be unfolding right before your very eyes. This is just one of the many triggers that were pulled during this fight. I gotta say, this is probably one of the most sackiest card games I've ever seen in my life. Not only in this season, but maybe even the entire series. Kai went in with a really old card with Dragon Punk Gojo, as well as another card to kind of get in that second damage, and he pulled a crit out of it. But of course, on that third damage, which they were all even up for, Galliard got the third damage heal. And this is just one of the first of many heals that would happen in this fight. I literally lost count of how many heal triggers actually went off. Really, it went off. No heal trigger was ever wasted in this fight, which is pretty amazing, even in like anime standards. And they just keep exchanging blows after blow, fight after fight, just Vanguard hit after Vanguard hit. You just see all these triggers taking place, and it's just mind-boggling of how crazy this is. I don't think I've ever even seen a card fight like this at Game On. Usually it's a bit one-sided. One person gets all the triggers, and the person's drive checking grade 3s all the time. This fight, oh no, everything's going to count. Everything's going to go off. You don't even worry about it. It's just, as Leon said, you are experiencing or seeing a card fight between two people who are so passionate about the game, that believe in themselves so much that they really, really want to win, and that luck is actually pouring off of them. I swear, if anybody would go into this tournament mentality, especially on a Bushiroad qualifier level, I will be pretty amazed to kind of just see the wind is at my side, or even the triggers are with me, without looking like a complete stacker. Like, honestly. Because you can tell that they probably didn't shuffle their decks after they performed Legion with their mates. And of course, they're riding their usual avatars that I've seen that have actually closed out the game for either one in previous card fights before. We get to see, Percival representing Galliard, and we get to see the Perdition freaking Flame Dragon that Kai has and they're using their effects. They're going off. They're going pretty well. And then this is where they really get into the hard part of the fight, where you're just trying to legion your triggers back into the deck, where it seems like you can technically not even deck out at this rate, at least for those decks in particular that don't rely on heavy soul charging or heavy draw power for that reason. But the thing is, what happened next, we honestly thought that Kai was just going with his brand new ace unit and just close out the game like that, because what you will see is just, alright, hopefully this is the final iteration of Draconic Overlord. Now this monster of an avatar, Perdition Imperial Dragon Draconic Overlord the Great. This guy combines the brokenness already that we've seen with Perdition Dragons and the addition of Draconic Overlord, the OG of the Kagero clan. And this guy's skill is pretty good. Counter Monster 1, discard 2 cards from your hand. At the end of the unit that this attacked a rear guard, if it's in Legion, pay the cost. If you do, stand, and it can't be used again. And the thing is also, on top of that, choose one of your rear guards with the same name as a unit in your Vanguard circle and retire it. When this unit attack hits, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So you can even choose maybe a Legion Mage or even a copy of the Great and just retire it. So you can attack with that column first and just say, alright, attacks hits a rear guard, I'm going to retire the rear guard in back of it. Pretty much, you can almost guarantee yourself a +2 in eliminating an entire column. This guy combines the break ride with the end, and you know what? They made it great. Now I can assure you that we were all Naoki in this episode. We were just completely surprised by the trigger sacking after all the heals actually going off, and seeing that Galliard already went through 4 of his heal triggers, thinking that's all going to be okay. That's all done, all fine. There's nothing else that he could do about it. But unfortunately, we were wrong for that turn. And we get to see a 5th heal trigger appear and have it actually go off on that 6 damage heal. And it seems that all hope is now going to be lost, because now Kai is going to be on the defensive, since that was the last attack on the rear guard. And so with Galliard and kind of just the way that he feels like it's going to be his time now, we can't help but just feel this is actually going to happen. And yes, how can you have a 5th heal trigger? Well, of course, as Leon and Ren explained, you see when you perform Legion, you put any 4 cards. That means you can put back heal triggers, or any triggers for that matter, back into the deck when you perform Legion. Therefore, they have another chance to actually go off. At this point, I kind of felt defeated, because I thought that the story would actually take us to a point where both Naoki and Kai will eventually lose out, and then it becomes kind of a hard reset in order to set up for Season 5. But fortunately, we get to see something even more sacky. Now, Galliard used Prominence Core in order to land the built-in critical on Kai's Vanguard, which happened to be Draconic Overlord the Great. He managed to double-check 2 heal triggers, both of them being Agafia. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correct. And everyone's kind of in shock, because now we already know that for certain, Galliard now has gone through all 4 of his heal triggers, as they have been either on the field or they have been in the drop zone. So you can tell that this next hit is probably going to be final turn. And then we see the original person calling final turn. Of course, we've seen Sarah call this, but failed. But now Kai is completely confident, and he can do it, and there is nothing that Galliard can do to stop it. And therefore, this brings this epic Saki card fight to an interesting end. Because the thing is, both card fighters were actually enjoying themselves quite a lot. They were just playing as if they had no tomorrow. It was a very fiery driven fight in both fighters. And the thing is, there's not even judgment that would take place. It was literally just a regular card fight, and people were having fun with it, and things just got really sacky. Welcome to Vanguard. But this episode definitely sets up. Now finally, after Kai has settled his beef with Galliard, he can finally move on to face Aichi, who will be most likely be using the Link's Joker clan. And boy oh boy will I look forward to that next episode. Hopefully we'll see if this is going to be a 2-episode fight, or maybe just a 1-episode fight with a lot of stuff going on in the background. But I have to say that this particular card fight in particular is the card fight of Season 4. Unless Kai and Aichi manage to make an even crazier fight, and that's coming up in the next few episodes. But course, if I managed to miss anything in particular about the episode, feel free to comment down below as well. And pretty much that's the end of the episode analysis breakdown. I really did like this episode, and especially the fight. And sometimes every card fighter wishes that they can get heal triggers that will actually go off. And of course, it's not like the anime, unless either the person legitly stacked or the person was just that lucky. But I gotta say, it was a very entertaining card fight nonetheless. And that's it for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you have any comments or suggestions about the episode, making it better, or anything has to change, feel free to comment down below. But outside of that, thank you for watching. My name is AlphonZeus. I hope that you've enjoyed this week that I've unlocked for you, and take care. See you later.